Magandang araw sa ating mga tagapakinig. Good day, everyone. Welcome to SciCreate's new segment and project. I am Colle.
Hi, I'm Hannah.
Hi, I'm Khris.
And I'm Jyan.
And we will be your hosts for today. Today, we will be having an interview with the founders of the wonderful, beautiful, amazing, and interesting organization named SciCreate. How about we have our lovely guests introduce themselves?
Hi, I'm gonna go ahead and start. It's me, Miz. I was the art person between me and Liv when we first started this, and now we're both ex co-heads.
Hi, I'm Liv, and I was the original writing person or the writing director for what was previously Hirayazine when we started this project.
All right. Do you have anything else you want to say? Hobbies, things that you've been spending your time on recently?
Yeah, actually, I just want to say that, like, right before this, I was literally just playing Minecraft, and I actually nearly forgot that we had a recording today.
Oh no.
Well, we're glad you're here. You
Yeah.
can join us too.
Yeah.
Recently, all I've been doing is trying to get through school and life. But besides that, I've been trying to write for fun in my free time.
I can totally relate to that because
Same.
I am also struggling with school. But, we always make time for orgs and we make time for SciCreate.
Yes.
So, as the co-founders of the lovely, lovely SciCreate organization, how do you two know each other? Like, how did you connect? What was your origin story?
Origin story. Nice.
Sounds like a romance question.
It is.
Oh,
No homo. Or all the
no,
homo.
no homo, no homo.
I guess, like, I can tell the story, or at least how I remember it. So, just to give, like, a brief background, I'm from Philippine Science High School, Western Visayas campus, which is in Iloilo. Liv is from Philippine Science High School main campus, which is in Quezon City, in Manila. And yeah, it's a good question for, like, wondering, like, where or, like, how a student from Manila and a student from Iloilo, Visayas, Luzon can really meet. And the answer is we met in Facebook. Oh no, it really does sound like
Oh my. Internet love.
Okay. So when we were in grade 7, there was this inter-campus group that was made by some batchmates of ours. And then there was like the very first like post that you could see from that inter-campus group was something about dropping your name and your hobbies. And Liz and I bonded over Harry Potter and Animal Jam.
Animal Jam.
Animal Jam in particular, which I feel like is very, very good, like foreshadowing, I guess, if you could say that. Because like Animal Jam is like a National Geographic game wherein you're supposed to learn about animals and biology and all that. And we were just like geeking out over it, even though, which is honestly like the nerdiest thing ever to geek about. Like even
Animals.
by science high school standards, this is pretty nerdy about.
It's not. I think it's like a common occurrence on
That's
like,
true.
So science high
The
schools.
days when you were still having so much passion about
I
things.
know.
The nerding out is normal. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna segue into in a short story. I remember when I was in high school, I commuted with my friends, and we would talk about what we learned in school, like, yung mga DNA amylase or whatsoever.
Oh,
I don't even know
wow.
what that is because, of course, I didn't pass bio. But anyway, whatever. We talk about that in the on the multi-cup ride, like while we go home, and people would stare at us, thinking, "What?"
Same,
So, like,
same energy.
It's really,
Yep.
it's really normal for that kind of geeking out, I guess. So, ayun. Okay, going back. I'm giving
Going
the floor
back to
to
the
you guys.
not so love story.
Yeah, the not love story. Okay, sure.
The not so love story.
Yeah. Well, technically, I guess it's love. It's love for science and what you do.
So true.
Love for the
Tama, yeah.
arts. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yes.
Animal Jam.
Okay. So like around like I think when we were in grade 8, Miz and I had this idea to make a webtoon, which
Oh.
Which was like
Interesting.
very ambitious of us, considering that we were like, what, 12-year-old kids. Honestly, at this point, I had no idea what a webtoon was. But I just went with it because Miss was really into it. And I had like the story and she was making the fan art. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Usually when I came up with like weird ideas or like what I thought was like weird ideas, I didn't really have anyone to like run them with. But Miss was like making all of the art. And I thought that like this might actually happen, you know.
Aw.
In case you did not realize by now, it did not happen.
What else? Aside from the webtoon, how did your relationship or how did you as friends? Why does this sound so How did you as friends?
Your platonic relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Platonic relationship.
Work relationship.
How did this friendship, relationship, platonic relationship, we have to emphasize the platonic relationship, go forward? How did you progress?
Okay, so in that span of time from like grade 7 to grade 12, Miss and I didn't actually meet in real life except for one time. And it was like 30 minutes. And it was so chaotic. We didn't even take a selfie or anything.
What?
Yeah, we were like, we don't know how to take a selfie, so we just did it.
So let's just not.
Exactly.
Both of us were like so awkward, not like other girls' face. We don't know how to take a selfie. No. Okay, so we didn't talk like that. We didn't really like we did talk from time to time, but in general we weren't really that close until like I'd say grade 11. This is around 2020, March 2020. So grade 11, March 2020, both of us were applying for colleges already. We were getting ready for that college apps grind. And Miss was messaging me and telling me like, hey Liv, wait, what did you tell me?
I actually don't remember. I don't even remember why I asked you. Like, if you were applying.
We started like with college apps. She was like asking me about like whether I would apply to some schools. And I said, yeah, I was planning to apply for a couple schools. And then that was where it started. We started like this Facebook group thing for Pisay people in our batch who was like applying abroad. And then we branched out into like having this whole event thing, but completely separate from the college apps things and not at all related. Really, we were talking about how like school was so stressful and college apps was so stressful, and both of us were so chaotic because this was like into the pandemic. So March 2020, the pandemic just started.
Yeah.
Everything was so chaotic. And we were like, oh, you know what really sucks during this time? Science communication.
Hey.
Exactly.
Not just out of nowhere, but at this time, as we mentioned a while ago, I was like the writer person and Miss was like the art person. We were like, you know, we should do something with this. Because we were both like really tired from school and college apps, and like we just wanted to work on like something together. And since we found out that we worked pretty well together for this whole college apps project thing, we were like, hey, let's do something else. But like really, I feel like we emphasize this too much because it's kind of like a background fear that people will think that we just did this for a resume or whatever. Like no, when it started, it was really just me and Miz making a zine. And it was so chaotic. We officially came up with this idea in like May 2020. If you look for like the about page of Hiraya Zine's Facebook account, you'll see it was started in like May 2020. We didn't launch until like June. And I remember during this time that 1 month span, I was like so nervous and chaotic. I was like, oh my God, are we really doing this? Because the last time I pitched an idea to Miz, she really went with it. And I was like, oh my God, we're really doing this. and so like here, I just really, I want to say it came out of nowhere, but it also like entailed a bunch of planning. Like we had all of these ideas, like should we make a website? Should we make a zine? Should it be like a blog? And then we settled on making it a zine because we wanted something that really showcased both art and writing, while also being something accessible and something digestible and easy to understand. So that was how Hiraya started.
Yeah. And then just like a fun fact, when I pitched the idea, or when actually it was Liv who pitched the idea of a zine first, and I was like, oh, I've actually been like thinking of making a zine about science communication for a while now. It's just that I'm not really a writer. There's a reason why I'm the art kid, the art person between the two of us. So I never really went forward with it. So when Liv like showed it to me, or when Liv pitched it to me, I was like, yo, this is like this is meant to be.
You're not making our case of this not being a romantic relationship much stronger, miss.
This is like the next level of our platonic relationship.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But she pitched it to me and I was like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And just the one thing, I didn't actually know how to make a magazine by this time. Like I came in with like zero knowledge of layout or whatever, and like I was like figuring out how to use InDesign like while while I was like making the first issue. And it was just like panicking like between my two like computer screens, like how to move text box to inside of screen, how to add like different margins. It was very chaotic and very unhinged. But we pulled together. We did it. We made the first issue of the zine, and it's been uphill or downhill, who knows? Since then.
So it was a trial by fire.
Yeah, it was, actually.
Yeah, like this first zine was so chaotic. Like for me, I remember that we started making the zine like in June because we launched in June, right? And then I remember we decided that our first zine would be themed after outer space because of some events going on. Like there was like a lot of outer space themed events going on, so that's how we themed it. And me, a biology and chemistry person, was like, huh, okay.
Well, look what we have here.
I remember this because like I wrote all of the articles and pieces for the first zine. There weren't really a lot. It's like 8 pages. But I was like trying to get through. I remember one of our first articles was like trying to simplify Reina Bel Reyes' article on
the relativity, yeah.
Reina Bel Reyes' article on relativity. We were trying to simplify her article. And I was just like at a loss. I was like
Not my field, not my field.
Yes, time is not real. Yes.
Yeah, so it was like we were so confused. We actually launched our first zine like well into July. We thought it would take a lot shorter, but we got it out, and that is important, I guess.
That's true.
Well, it seems like, the trial by fire and the zine, all these challenges, I think it really made the two of you this
What's the
made
term?
your working relationship thrive. This made your working relationship thrive.
And they were co-workers.
I see that you guys, you've had lots of projects and babies together.
Ma'am?
you have lots of projects, and I'm really happy that you guys have so many opportunities that you have grabbed and you have shared with other people. I mean, we hosts, we wouldn't be here today if not for you.
That's true.
We're essentially your children.
We're essentially your children,
You
yeah.
have like
That's so
120
true.
children.
Yeah, 120 children. That's a lot.
Thanks, moms.
Thanks, moms.
Thanks, moms. Yeah. So, speaking of Hiraya Zine, I know that that's your current big baby right now. We're your family right now. So,
Your breadwinner?
It's a non-profit org. Why would it be a breadwinner?
Good point.
Oops.
Fair.
Fair point.
but anyways, yes, back to Hiraya. It being your first or your biggest.
Flagship project would be the perfect term.
Yes. Do you have anything you want to tell us about it? And yes, Hannah, I see you have some questions about it.
Okay, so actually, this is a segue into our next topic about Hiraya Zine. It's zine, not zine. Okay, it's another one of those GIF versus GIF things. So it's zine, just to clear that up. And
Wait, with GIF and GIF, which one is correct? I'm sorry, I was curious.
it's actually GIF, but it's actually
I
GIF,
call
but
it GIF.
Me too.
Exactly.
Yeah. This This is my trauma response.
How could it be a trauma for GIF GIF?
It's conflict avoidance for me.
Anyway, yeah. So, can you tell us a little bit more about Hiraya Zine and why was it called that?
Yeah, so
You know, if you have like enough lifespan left.
yeah. So Hiraya Zine, it started out as a little project, a passion project, I guess we would say, between me and Liv. It was just me creating art and her creating articles. So about things that we liked about science and stuff like that. So I was an amateur layout artist. I still am. I'm still trying to learn, but I've gained a lot from going over from doing like a lot of art and a lot of layout for that. And like it started as this like little thing between us. It's grown so much.
Exactly. Art and articles. She made articles. She made art. What more can I say?
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, going back. So this project has like grown a lot, and honestly, like I'm very thankful for everyone who's like believed in this project, and I'm very thankful to Liv, who has really been, my partner in crime.
Oh,
There's an
all
in
of this.
crime.
Yes, in crime. This partner in crime thing throughout this whole process and everything that we've been through. So yeah, I mean, Liv, do you have anything to add?
Just a bit of a disclaimer. Ms. and Liv are not together in a romantic sense.
I would like to say that like having your org head as your partner is almost always ends up messy, and I think like Liv has seen this happen.
Off the record.
Off the record.
Well, I think
Alright,
I
off
talked
the
about
record.
that. Like, it's not like the entire like process of starting an org was all like happy and like, oh, we're gonna work together and like we're gonna have no, like it was so chaotic. Like, I know we were talking about, I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about this, but like Liz was talking about a while ago how she learned a lot about graphic design and layout and learning how to use InDesign. Well, for me, as I mentioned a while ago, I was a writer, and while I already learned a lot about science communication and social media marketing, this was before we had a separate social media committee. I feel like my biggest struggle with Hiraya at first was just coming to terms with the fact that it existed.
It existed. You don't want it to be perceived.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm like very grateful for everything that we've experienced and this big family that we've created with each other. And I'm so happy to have you guys here. But at first, like, I was so confused. I feel like from the start, I was like, oh my God, we're starting an org. And yeah, I'm just gonna say it. I feel like I was having imposter syndrome for like the first 6 months that we had Hiraya. Because I was so afraid of messing up now that Hiraya was in the public eye. When we first launched the very first post that we made, the one that said that this is Hiraya Zine, the one with the I'm talking about this like it's gonna be a video. It's not. But when we first launched the very first post on our social media accounts, the ones that explain our mission, vision, and what we do.
And also the meaning. Yeah, it had like the meaning of our logo, which was really just me sort of making stuff up. You can continue.
Yeah. It had our names on the very front. It was like Hiraya Zine by Liv Licardo and Ms. Insigne. And I didn't see that name until like the day it was gonna be posted. And I was messaging Ms. like, Ms, we're gonna put our names. And she was like, yeah, so that people we know will follow us and support what we do. And I said, why?
The mortifying ordeal of being known.
Yeah.
I was so afraid. And I didn't think that it would be like I didn't know if I would be like able to handle this. And I didn't think I would be able to handle this. But now that we're 2 years almost into doing this, I'm like, yeah, like this is our brainchild and I'm really proud of it.
Suffering from success.
Yes.
I feel like it's just taken a lot of time for us to just own up to this being like really something that we built. And of course, it wouldn't have been possible without you guys.
Aww.
That's actually really amazing because I believe you guys started it when you were still 17, so you're not even adults yet, and you already had pardon, but you already had children in a way.
We had to like take care of it. We had to feed it posts and stuff like that. Raise
Watch
it
it
into
grow.
our own.
Watch it grow.
Exactly.
You had to teach it lots and lots of science topics.
Put it
Give
through
it love.
education.
Yeah, I gave it an education.
You have to support the family. Back to why we decided to call it Hiraya Zine. So honestly, I hate to admit this, but when we were coming up for a name for our organization, we decided to make a list of cool sounding Filipino words. No!
The
gotta look
normal
at-
trajectory of things.
This was a bad idea because I feel like, okay, originally at that time, we were one of the few Hirayas that we saw going around, but now I feel like there's just been a lot of Hirayas because it's such a nice word. It means vision or future. And at that time, that was like exactly what we wanted to do. Like we wanted to create a vision. That's like our mission vision itself. We wanted to create a future where science, art, and humanities would be like tied in together. So I hate to admit this, but when we were first coming up with a name for Hiraya Zine, we made a list of Filipino names that sounded cool.
Yeah, there was a BuzzFeed. There
Oh,
was
yeah.
a BuzzFeed
There's a
article with like
Beautiful
13 words, and literally we got like a bunch of them and put it in a Google Docs.
Kasi di ba naka-calligraphy pa yun?
Oh, yes, exactly.
Our political party was named Hiraya rin. So I was like, oh, okay.
That actually kind of happened to me then when I was running for council. Anyway, yeah. So Hiraya, as a name, it means something along the lines of imagination, dreams, or hopes. So, in that regard, do you have your own specific hopes and dreams for this organization? I mean, you've already accomplished so much. What else is next?
Because I guess we're gonna talk about like the organization as a whole later on. So I'll save my answers for the organization later. For the zine specifically, we're gonna talk about the project here. Just to clarify, by the way, Hiraya now, as it is the zine. Like whenever we talk about Hiraya, that's the zine, like just the zine. But as a whole, the organization is called SciCreate. Just a little clarification there in case anyone gets it mixed up. But anyway, at least for me, my vision of Hiraya as like a magazine, I really hope that it like becomes sort of like that big thing that like kids get excited to buy. I don't know if you guys like are aware of this, but I know Hannah here was actually my elementary classmate. And we used to buy this National Geographic almanac like for kids.
Yeah, that's actually,
like-
if you brought that to school, everyone would like want to be your friend. Like they're going to huddle
Exactly.
around your chair and be like, "Hey, can I see this page? Oh, there's this spotted frog. It looks so cute," or stuff like that.
Yeah. Moving back. But yeah, like personally for me, I really hope that like Hiraya becomes like this big thing that like kids are excited to buy and excited to like flip through. Like, whoa, I didn't know this about like animals, or I didn't know about this, or I didn't know that like universe expanded or whatever. And yeah, like that's something that I hope to do with Hiraya in the future. What about you, Liv?
I also agree with that. And something that we were discussing, I remember one time, was in line with what you were saying about it being like a National Geographic type of almanac. I was thinking that it could be something like maybe K-Zone or Total
Yes,
Girl.
I love K-Zone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, the two ends of the spectrum.
It's like,
K-Zone
oh,
Yes,
and
the two ends
National
of the
Geographic.
spectrum. You're either a K-Zone girl or a total girl. So, we're on in the
Yeah, and then
spectrum.
Hiraya girls are in the middle.
Yeah, your girls are in the middle.
Yeah, and like the three genders: boy, girl, science, nerd.
Raya gotta be one of my favorite genders.
So, next question. Did you ever expect Hiraya Zine to become a large organization in such a short amount of time? 1 year.
No. Short answer: no.
Definitely not. So as I mentioned a while ago, I wasn't really that on board with having SciCreate be something, SciCreate or Hiraya be something that is perceived by the public eye. So I was very anxious about like having a lot of members in the first place. During our very first cycle, I remember we were saying like, oh my God, what if nobody signs up? What if nobody joins us? What if we just flop? Like this is our very first post. And then I was hoping to get around 10 to 15 people just for the very first zine that we were going to release. Then we ended up getting 30 people, and I was like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
30
Yeah, like-
children.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Yeah, like we had like 10 signups in the first day, and we were like, we were like, what? How did this happen?
So your first fear was like not having enough people, but then once you got through the first day, your next fear was like, oh, we have too many people.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But like I remember thinking, you know what? If no one else signs up for this, 10 is already a number. It's double digits. I'm okay with that. So, but we ended up getting like 30 people, and those were like our first kids.
Your first kids.
I remember really being anxious about the fact that we also had members who were older than us, and the fact that I didn't really know what I was doing. Like, both of us were just starting out, and we weren't really sure of what we were doing. And honestly, I felt bad like they would perceive me as being some sort of fraud. Like, as I mentioned a while ago, I didn't really like the fact that both of our names were like on the very first post, because then I felt like having this many people signed up meant that they were like putting some level of trust in me, or at least my name. Besides, like, of course, having the goal to, with the same goals as us, to promote science communication and link science and the arts. I felt like to an extent they were trying to trust me with, or me and Miss with like what we were going to do. And that was so nerve-wracking for me. I feel like I'm implying a lot of negative emotions, but I was so happy as well. I was so happy that I was scared.
Yeah, that sums it up pretty much.
But it was such a good experience, honestly. Like, that first team of people who joined us, they were so easy to work with, and for some reason they seemed to put like a lot of, they were so like, it's a good word. They were so passionate about what we were doing to the point that it worked out, even though some things were a little bit delayed or wasn't all perfect. But in the end, we were able to produce a really good zine that I'm pretty proud of. Like, when I see it now, I remember still seeing that like first cover page, and I was like so happy I could cry.
Yeah, I like sometimes like people sometimes do this thing, I guess, where or like a lot of creatives do this thing, and like even me, where like once you're done with something, like for example when you're done with an essay, you kind of just like end it. You don't want to look at it because you know like it sucks, so you just like, okay, no more. When we finished that zine, and like I was like flipping through it, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is it.
This is the real
Aggressively nodding.
deal.
This yeah, and I was like really proud of it. I was really proud of us. Me and Liv, and also everyone who's like worked to bring it to reality. Like, it was really wonderful, like seeing like really nice art. Like, I'm genuinely like the cover page. Yes, but yeah, like it really is such a wonderful feeling to be able to work with so many people, especially like a lot of the current exec right now are like we're members of like that time. It was just me. During the second scene, it was still me and Liv like leading. That we still didn't really have an exec board at that point. But a lot of the exec board now came from like those original 30 members who were with us, and it was really wonderful to like meet them, to get to work with them, and to still be working with them. So yeah.
Yeah. At this point, I feel like I want to give a shout out to some of those members. So I feel like I'm just gonna give an example real quick of like how collaborative that environment was. I feel like one of my proudest moments I feel during that first zine was when we had two of our members, Janjo and Austin, partnered to work on this article about science communication itself and how you could do it. And oh my gosh, I was so proud of their work. They were like making a few inside jokes in the Discord server. And like they were talking about how they had interviewed this person, and then Janju had made like this amazing spread with like little details and icons for the zine. And like I was so proud of that collaboration. I just couldn't believe that we had managed to produce something like this. And I was so happy that somehow Hirai had played a part in making this beautiful article and art layout happen. I was so happy for that. So yes, it has been amazing working with everyone.
Right. So, since we're here now and it's been a year, it's safe to say that you guys didn't flop, like, at all.
Didn't flop. Y'all are
It
doing
flourished.
great.
It flourished.
Yeah.
It's not your flop era.
You see us a lot.
Can't think of any words. That's it. Amazing, revolutionary, never been done
We
before.
was thriving.
Yeah, that's the
Thriving,
Licardo video.
So, basically, you went from 30 people. So, how does it feel to have around 120 members after just the first year? Are you guys happier? Are you guys more scared?
Honestly, I feel like I've talked a lot about how I've been really nervous and scared during most of the first round. But during the second round, wherein we had the executive team, we had all of these cool, amazing projects set up. And just before we started out for the cycle, we had a thing with like the current members we called live calls, which I'm so sorry. Like I was the one who made this, and I couldn't think of a better name. Where I talked to not each and everyone, but like as many members as I could about like their insights and what they wanted to do moving forward. I felt so excited at the prospect of being able to recruit more people like them who we could work with, who we could talk to, who all had a similar vision and different skills that we could use to push forward what we wanted to do. And so when we were recruiting that many members, I was overwhelmed, but I was more excited than ever to work on everything that we had planned.
I just want to like shout out to Mary who's in this call right now. Because she really carried those like 120 applications because wow, there were so many.
If we're the mother,
Yeah.
Mary is the grandmother. No, but also because she's the one who goes through each and every applicant before we do.
She's like the filter.
She allows the birth. That's what she does.
She's a midwife.
She's the midwife, exactly.
Midwife.
Yeah, 120 apps. I remember actually like interviewing. I don't really remember how many people I interviewed, but it's like if someone would be like, "Who's free to interview this person?" and I just jump at the chance at it because, that's kind of the thing with an org, to make new connections and learn about new people so we can work toward that goal.
I actually really loved the interviews. It was kind of weird for me because like I was like in the middle of moving, so like some of my interviews like I was doing in a hotel, so it was kind of chaotic. I mean, we were all in the same hotel room, and my mother and my brother were just there like listening to me. And then by the end of like the interview, they were like, "Man, you interview longer than than like actual interviewers and like jobs and stuff like that." The reason why I'm talking about this is because like I really love the interviews. Because it really allowed us to sort of, talk to these super passionate Filipino youth that really wanted to do something with like the talent and the knowledge that they have, that they or whatever they had to like make something bigger than themselves. And it was like it was so inspiring. And I remember like I've had like people say that like Hiraya or like SciCreate inspired them to really create things for the better and stuff like that, or to learn more about science. And I was like, oh my god, don't look at me. I'm about
You
to
guys
sob
are
into-
inspiring.
Yeah,
That's true.
but
You guys are,
Yeah,
are
thank you.
inspiring.
oh,
Inspiring mothers.
but yeah, I really enjoy that. And once again, like for everyone here, like to the host, like I'm gonna address the host and of course the audience as well. Thank you for like being passionate about this with us. Thank you for like supporting us and being here together with us. So yeah, that's my end of this part.
Thank you so much for your support.
Okay, so we've talked about your nervousness and, the feeling that there is this responsibility on you, attaching, like associating with other people. So, what other emotions would you say has resurfaced around this new time with 120 members?
I think yeah, like I'm gonna like plus one Liv's answer earlier, which was that like it was super exciting to like work with new people and to meet new people, because like the past few scenes in the past few months I was able to meet like so many of you guys and like to really like listen to your stories and see what you guys could make, and it was really cool. But I will also say I haven't really talked about this because I know that like Liv has talked a lot about imposter syndrome, or and don't get me wrong, like I experience that too all the time. It's not I guess like I don't really say it out loud that much. It's yeah. Um but yeah, like I will admit that that I also have imposter syndrome sometimes, like uh being the executive co-head of 120 like members, that's a lot of responsibility. And yeah, like I definitely get doubts like sometimes when I feel, like I have to be heading like a bunch of different projects, and I have to be thinking about the scene. I have to be thinking about a lot of things, and then I also have to think about like my own responsibilities. But again, like I guess like um yeah, that all this to say that like running an organization is hard. We've been talking about like the really cool stuff about it, the good stuff, but it's also really hard. But in the end, like in my opinion, when all is said and done, the thing about like being able to work together to create things together, and to create specifically, to leave the world better than we found it. I think that's like the best feeling about being in this organization, and about being like, in a group that is very like-minded in a way that like we all want to create things for science, or to communicate science, hopefully for like, for the betterment of the Filipino people. So yeah, a little bit a long-winded way to saying that, science and technology for the people, guys.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, it's like adding on to what Min said. It's been really nice, getting all of these people who are here, who are not just here to like have fun or meet other people, but also to leave this world a little better than we came into it. And I feel like being able to create that kind of community has been the best part. It's been like the loveliest part of heading this organization. I'm so proud of being the mother, one of the mothers of these children. So yeah.
Okay, so was it hard to make people join the org, especially it's still in its infancy, and considering that there are also like a lot of youth orgs or science orgs in the Philippines.
Yeah, I actually just want to like give a shout out to Liv, because I 100% Liv was sort of I may have been like the person doing the marketing and social media in the very beginning, like in the like when it was just the two of us. But in all honesty, she was the reason that we have so many people right now. Her connections. Thank you, Liv. Yeah.
I don't know what to say about that. But as I mentioned a while ago, for us, like getting 30 people to join the organization just during this first round was already a lot for us. We were so overwhelmed that we had this many people just here to join us who were interested in what we were doing and wanted to give science and technology to the people through arts. And that has been something that I'm so grateful for. And for me, having 120 members, like that's such a huge accomplishment. And for me, that's a lot of people already. So I wouldn't say it was that hard to make people join the org. And as for having other youth or science organizations, I don't know how to phrase this. I just want to say that we don't consider them as a competition. I feel like it's great that there are other science organizations out there who are working to do similar things, and how we've actually worked with some of them in the past in order to further promote our common goal and mission. And I feel like it's just been great being able to not just meet people within our organization, but also from those other youth organizations. And we're all just working towards one common thing. And that's been really great.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
Upvote.
Upvote.
Plus one. So since you mentioned it, what do you think sets apart your organization from, similar organizations?
Okay. So first of all, we didn't really start off as an organization. We started off as a zine. And I feel like at that time, at least in the market, we were like the only youth organization that had a zine. And we were the only ones like doing it with the theme of having it being in science and technology and science communication. So I feel like that was what set us apart at that time. The fact that we were specifically a zine and not just an organization. as well as like our other projects that have come along in the past years. I don't really know of any other youth organizations in science who are doing a podcast. So
I will say that there are actually.
Yeah, there are actually.
Yeah, there are some like youth organizations.
However, there are no other organizations that have both Ms. and Liv.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there are no
that's
other
like-
organizations with this level of inside joke.
It's like you guys balance being chaotic and being idealistic, and that's something that I really appreciate
That's
about
true.
you
I
guys.
actually, yeah, thank you for that. I also want to like segue into something. Like another thing that we are also like that we use to like set us apart is our embracing of meme culture.
Oh my god,
That's
why didn't we
true.
cover that? That's the
right.
clout.
That's right.
Speaking of meme culture, sino nga ulit gumawa ng gusto ko na lang maging hotdog?
That was Yumis. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
a bit of a
Those are
shout
very
out to
young.
Yumis' previous
Yeah.
famous post.
This was Miss very experienced background in meme making that proved very beneficial for our organization and what gave us our unique branding.
Meme culture.
Honestly, those are our posts that have like the most engagement. But it's interesting because then like when we get lots of engagement, we get lots more people looking at our posts about actual
Yeah.
science communication. So it's a really good like way to reach out to that audience. Make it
So
seem
true.
more relatable and digestible, which was our goal in making Hiraya in the first place. So yes, embrace the meme culture.
Yeah, a bit of a segue and also a plug. Is it called a plug? If you want to send your own memes to be featured on our SciCreate page, you send the dankiest, nerdiest memes that you have.
Yeah, you can find all of the links at facebook.com/SciCreateYouth. We also have the same handles in our Twitter and Instagram, so make sure to follow us and check us out.
Like and subscribe.
Like,
subscribe.
hit that notification bell.
Statistics show that most of you aren't subscribed yet. If you want to be a patron,
Maybe you can buy me some coffee over at
In Skillshare.
Hashtag not sponsored.
So once again, what's the handles? What are the handles?
Handles are at SciCreateYouth. So it's SciCreateYouth. No space.
spelling is fun.
spelling. So currently, we know that Hiraya Zine rebranded to SciCreate. So now that the organization is in its second year, what prompted you guys to rebrand? Given na maganda naman yung name na Hiraya. Of course, it was on the BuzzFeed article that says, really beautiful Tagalog words or whatever. So, why would you change something so beautiful?
So Miss, how would you like to talk about this?
Uh, yeah, I'm just gonna explain sort of the context behind that lifespan joke. So we kind of touched upon this like earlier. Hiraya as like an organization name, or really as a name for like a proper noun name for like events, for batches, for honestly anything, has become like kind of like a big thing. Like so many shops, so many events, so many whatever like organizations are called Hiraya. And we're not really sure what prompted this. Like at the point when we created Hiraya, we didn't really see anyone with that name. But like but then suddenly like we started seeing so many of that. And yeah, so and the inside joke was like every time I saw like a name or organization or whatever named Hiraya, I like lose 5 years off my lifespan.
Maybe you were the blueprint, you know?
She was
Like,
you understood the assignment.
yeah.
If anything, I think that BuzzFeed article was the blueprint.
Oh my
Fair
god, we're
point,
giving
fair
BuzzFeed clout.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Oops.
Anyway, but yeah, so like Hiraya is a beautiful word, and like we're still keeping like the zine name as Hiraya because like it's still sort of a vision for the future of STEM and the humanities. But as an organization, we also wanted to set us apart. Like we really wanted to be, to be our own.
Not like the other girls.
Not like other organizations.
Quirky.
Exactly. But yeah, so we really wanted to set us apart.
And then like adding on to what Miss said about rebranding so that we could have a more distinct identity. we also decided to rebrand because we realized that the full name of our organization wasn't just Hiraya, it was Hiraya Zine. And adding on these other secret projects meant that we were not only representing the zine, but these other projects as well. So that meant that we had to have a different, more unified name, aside from just Hiraya Zine and that being the encapsulating thing. So we decided to rebrand to our new name. Dun 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 dun, SciCreate.
I love the drum roll.
What's in the drum roll? Is dun 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 dun. Is that
Slightly related story. Another segue to another story. I remember like the one like another thing was the fact like people got confused between Hiraya the zine and Hiraya the organization because originally the Facebook name was just Hiraya and it wasn't Hiraya zine, so like and even though the at was like here the handle was Hiraya zine, again like the name was just Hiraya, so like even in exec we were like was it Hiraya zine, was the full name Hiraya zine, or was the full name just Hiraya? So it went on for a while. So we realized, you know what? Our name's not Hiraya. It's SciCreate.
It's SciCreate. So, what does SciCreate mean?
Well, it's a portmanteau.
It's a portmanteau.
Yeah, like it's a portmanteau between the word sci and create. So it's science and create, or creatives actually. The full name of the the organization is actually Youth for Science Creatives. Which is why we have the handle is SciCreate Youth. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Give us a follow on Instagram and Facebook as well as Twitter. Anyway, so how we created that name? Actually, I think I was the one who suggested it. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure I was the one who suggested it. Yeah, I actually kind of got inspiration a little bit from a small indie underground science YouTube channel. I mean, you guys probably haven't heard of it, like SciShow, you know?
I love SciShow.
Yeah. It's so underground, nobody knows about it.
She's just underrated.
Yeah, like Hank Green. It's so hard to find any fans, right?
Giving indie.
Yeah, but so I was thinking about like I was thinking about like the organization as a whole and like what we do, and like a big thing of what we do is like creating things, right? Creating zines, creating secret audio projects, creating pubs, articles, art, stuff like that. So, and creating memes, exactly. So that combination between science and create came SciCreate, and now we are here.
Pero just to clarify, you will be still making the zine. Tama.
Yes, that is correct.
Maybe it's time to plug the zine.
Again, stay tuned with all of our social media handles. Again, at SciCreate Youth. It'll be out by the time we post this secret audio project.
Secret audio project. Okay, so you mentioned a while ago that you started conceptualizing Hiraya Zine, how it started. You started conceptualizing it in 2020. How did the pandemic significantly impact the workload or like the workflow within the org itself?
I think it's really interesting because I feel like without the pandemic, not to say like the pandemic was good or anything, because absolutely there have been incredible negative effects for everyone. Like without the pandemic, I don't think the zine or like the organization would have been created at all, because the whole reason why me and Liv started this whole thing because we were bored. It was the pandemic. We had nothing else to do but like sit at home.
But aside from that, I want to add on, we were also really frustrated with what was happening during that time. I feel like it was just a time of miscommunication everywhere. This was during
So
the
true.
time that, like, there was so much news about COVID going around, like what you could do and what you could not do, what was the vaccine, what was not the cure, and what was the cure, and what would be the future, and like, oh my gosh, are we going to die in this pandemic? It will entail so many deaths for like in the black page. It was just like a lot going on. And we were just so frustrated that like I feel like information wasn't being disseminated properly during this time, to the point where everyone was so confused as to what was going to happen next. So as we mentioned before, Ms. and I had always had a background of interest in science and communicating through art or writing. And it was during this time that our interest in both really peaked because we were so frustrated and also bored very good combination to work on new projects.
That's
So
true.
that was really what catalyzed it. And I feel like designing it in an online setting where people were getting used to things being online and virtual was kind of helpful did uh as we planned how this project would go in that sense. Obviously the pandemic was not a good thing, but adding on to what Miss said, I feel like this project also wouldn't be here if it not for the pandemic.
And adding to that, like the fact that everything is online, we all had like this opportunity to get like members from all across the Philippines, right? Like again, like me and Liv are like from 100, or I don't know how many miles it is, but like we're
It's
far away.
LDR.
LDR.
um, but yeah, and being able to have like at one point, like the executive had the executive heads, we were spread across like three different continents. So yeah, it was really interesting to have like this sort of setup, and being able to like interact with people not from our locality, like from people outside of our circles, our normal circles. So I think that was like a really nice thing about this like sort of online setup here.
So in retrospect, like looking back on the past year, how did the organization grow? And maybe like in terms of values, scope, the kind of members you got, the projects and all that.
In the beginning, in the beginning, it was really just
In the
like
beginning, there was org.
yeah, in the beginning, it was really just me and Liv like creating something for fun, and also like to make something to promote science communication. And it's grown to be something bigger than that, like really um including hosts of stories and like so many different people and with different perspectives and backgrounds, who are also able to like tell their stories of like science and also communicate the way they want science to be. And it's become this small sort of project and has grown to become, like an organization that is hoping to bring science and technology to the people, because like for so long science and technology has been sort of delegated to this.
It's like
It's
something
only
very lofty.
Yeah, like people think it's only for a very select few, that only like super intelligent or super smart people, geniuses, high IQ, Albert Einstein, that kind of thing, can participate in it or can understand it. When in reality, like science is everywhere. And we want to be able like with like the growth of the organization, we really want to emphasize that. And yeah, like Liv, do you want to say anything before I continue?
So
Okay.
adding on to what Miss said, even as a science student, I also felt like science was still something that was unreachable or at least unattainable, like the levels of standards that you would have to go through in order to be considered a scientist. I wrote an article for our first, or would I say second zine, wherein I talked about flat earthers and how their existence is a thing of science communication and how science is perceived as being something difficult, which is why flat earthers exist. Because science is presented as being something very hard to do. If you've been through research oral defenses or faced a panel of judges as you presented some novel
flashbacks.
idea or some research idea that doesn't even quite make sense to you, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
hard. And it's something that seems very difficult to understand. And being able to break down that science, make it accessible, make it digestible, has just been something really important to us, even from the start. And now moving forward, as we proceed with more projects that help make that science even more accessible and digestible, I'm just more excited than ever to be able to delve more into that. So yes.
On like I guess like the topic of like flat Earth, I actually like made a case study on flat Earth for my social science project. Yeah, it was really fun because I wanted to like or sort of think about or study more about like science communication. And one of the quotes that I found from a man named Mark Sargent, who is arguably like the sort of face of flat Earth, of the modern flat Earth movement right now. He said something like, um, people like flat earthers don't understand science, because to them it's like a foreign language. Like, the math doesn't make sense to them and whatever. So they don't listen to the scientists. They listen to me, Mark Sargent, like the person speaking, because I can explain it in a way that they can understand.
I do agree with what you said, that the way science is being communicated right now, or for the most part, is that it's so lofty, it's full of highfalutin jargon that
Exactly.
it fails to serve the people it intends to serve.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
for example, or yung mga high school researchers natin, I'm pretty sure we had yung mga STR, all those novel ideas, something we really spent our time, sweat, and tears on.
Tears.
And
Lots of tears.
Sanity. Sanity. Yeah. Most of the time, it gathers dust in the libraries. It doesn't reach the people it's supposed to reach. Like, it's too gatekept behind such heavy vocabulary, I guess, or like the words mismo.
Jargon, yeah.
Jargon. That's a term. So, ayun, I'm really glad that you had the initiative and you actually pushed through. And now we have Horizon and SciCreate itself to make it much more accessible to the masses, to the people who actually benefit from it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
definitely we've talked about like everything and like all of our plans from the start, from our origin story all the way to now. So speaking of growth and everything about SciCreate, because we know in life we never stop growing. I wish me, but sadly not gifted with height. But the same is true for this org, definitely. So can you share with us the direction or the kind of growth you want SciCreate to have? What are the next steps, basically?
So for a more general direction or what kind of growth we want to have SciCreate we want SciCreate to have in the future. I really want SciCreate to be able to reach more people, especially as we transition, maybe to face over the next few years. I really want to be able to be out there in the field. That sounds like a not good term, but I really want to be out there being able to reach people face to face, to be able to actually see what they need and be able to impact them directly rather than doing this online. Because while making information campaigns and podcasts and deans have been fun, if they don't reach the people who will need them the most and who will probably benefit the most, then our efforts are an echo chamber. And I really want to be able to exit that echo chamber and actually go out there.
100%, yeah. Yeah.
But yes, I really look forward to being able to have outreach programs or donation drives in real life should things happen in face to face. And as for online or like personal organizational growth, I want to have a website.
With Wix, you can easily build a website.
Hashtag not sponsored.
You learned that from Skillshare.
Baka naman, Wix.
I feel like that's something so minor to me, but like personally, like, but before I even pitched the zine, I wanted us to have a website because then everything could be there. It could be like all official. But before the website, we really want to get SEC registered.
Yeah. Hashtag
What
legality.
We really
SEC.
want to be registered as an official nonprofit.
Okay.
Sex certification is really hard. I'm sorry. I tried.
It's really
It's okay.
hard. We're
Yeah,
not
that's the
quite
thing.
how to go about it yet, but we're working on it. We want to be registered as an official nonprofit organization so that our efforts can be
Officially recognized.
officially recognized and also supported,
Yeah.
most importantly.
And I guess like on my end, 100% agree with what Liv said, like the whole thing about going out to like people and doing outreaches and stuff like that. That's all I wanted to do. I remember like one of the biggest reasons why I decided to go into science communication and science in general really is I remember in grade 4 or grade 5, grade 6, or yeah, grade 5 and grade 6, I went into this like science camp and I fell in love with like science and with like with activities that we were doing, and it was like wonderful. And in like throughout high school, I had like participated in a bunch of like STEM outreaches, and it was wonderful just like being able to connect with like these kids who like seeing I guess like clearer that's like how science is really ingrained or like intertwined with like with our lives. And I really hope to be able to do that with SciCreate in the near future. But another thing that I also want to sort of bring up is the idea that, like, change won't really like happen unless like the system changes, essentially. Like, it's very hard to change things in a very like in a widespread kind of way, like individual or like one action by one person. But when you change like specifically the system, things like actually happen. And that's like one thing that I want to do, or like we want to do, is like to really bring science and technology into the limelight of like Philippine like law and like Philippine public policy. Like, it's a big thing that we are hoping to sort of like promote. So yeah, that's another thing that I hope that SciCreate grows into as well.
Manifesting for SciCreate.
So true.
Busy. Manifesting for SciCreate, indeed. Because there's a lot of potential, and although it's like, there's this conversation I get from time to time about how people say there's just so much orgs bringing around. Definitely you could see a difference in SciCreate, something that sets us apart, and I think our next steps will definitely speak for that. Yeah, we're built different, like not like other girls, indeed. We're here for the legal stuff, like not like other girls. So yes, you better tune into SciCreate, everyone listening, wherever they are, because we're going to be more than this, and we're definitely here for what we're fighting for. Wow. Sana all pinaglaban.
Sana all.
So yeah, definitely. Thank you for letting us know about everything from our origin story and like who we are now and for our future. That's going to be written in all of our birth certificates as the children of Miss and Liv.
Just erase your mom's name.
SciCreate and Hiraya. Yeah, so woo, thank you for that wonderful introduction and to all of the things that are yet to come. Yay.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be able to talk about SciCreate and Hiraya. And also, just to be with you guys. It was super cool.
Yes, it was definitely an insightful talk that we had today. And now we have come to the close of our interview for today. Thank you very much to our guests, Miss and Liv. Any final words?
Pleasure being here.
So grateful to all of our listeners. If you've reached the end of this podcast audio, we're so grateful to have you here, and we can't wait to create futures and create science with all of you. Yay!
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 All right, so this has been a very, very lengthy interview, and I hope that you, our dear audiences, have been with us throughout this journey. Thank you very much for listening. This has been Colle.
This has been Khris.
This has been Hannah.
This has been Jyan.
And you have just listened to episode 0 of the secret audio project of SciCreate. Thank you very much for listening to Sapnayan, and we'll see you next time.